Ed O'Keefe from the Washington Post joins us to discuss. Ed, Republican Congressman Richard Hanna today has now officially crossed party lines. He says he's going to be voting for Hillary Clinton come November. It comes just one day after a prominent former Jeb Bush advisor, Sally Bradshaw, said, "I can't look my children in the eye, tell them I voted for Donald Trump." She is leaving the party as well. Given the current controversy now plaguing the GOP nominee, might we see a marshaling of more GOP dissent in the days to come?
If you're going to see it, you're going to see it from Richard Hanna and Sally Bradshaw style Republicans. Important to keep in mind with Congressman Hanna, he's retiring, and he represents a part of upstate New York that is, pretty moderate, really, rides the middle. And remember, a New York Republican is essentially a more moderate Democrat. Mm-hmm. It's very hard these days to get elected in New York as a Republican to anything unless you're in a very gerrymandered district, as Hanna has been. But his district now is going to be competitive this November as he retires because, again, it's that kind of swing district. So it's no surprise that that kind of a Republican would break ranks and essentially endorse the home state candidate, one of the two home state candidates. Trump's the other one, and go with Clinton. Bradshaw, again, no surprise. Remember, she was involved in that 2012 autopsy report that we often refer to, when the RNC asked a bunch of Republican graybeards to get together and figure out why they lost the White House. They came back with a report about 6 months later that said we've got to be better when it comes to talking about social issues. We have to perhaps play that down a little bit. We have to adopt a softer tone when we're discussing issues of importance to minority voters, including immigration. Romney had suffered through that in his campaign. Trump certainly has suffered through it this time. That report has essentially been tossed into the garbage can, and Bradshaw, since the Bush campaign, really has been distressed by the real state of the GOP. So again, it's no surprise to people who tracked her. I followed the Bush campaign, and when I heard this news yesterday, I said that makes sense given sort of her stance in the party and the work she had done to try to rebuild it after the 2012 campaign.
And yet, Ed, we have seen this controversy now metastasize and really creep into an area thought to be really off limits by both parties, military families. Donald Trump has now been called on by members of such, as well as fellow Republicans, to apologize to the Khan family. He still has not. In seeing, though, these defections and certainly hearing the dissent from people like House Speaker Paul Ryan, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, does it indicate that there is a chance for this perhaps be, if nothing else, that straw that breaks the back?
I don't know that we're there yet, Josh, partly because we still have some primaries to be held across the country in different states where there are members of the House and the Senate who face challenges through the end of August. So I think you may not see folks feel willing to break with Trump until they've won their primary or maybe even lost their primary. And there's enough sensitive seats in play. McCain, for example, in Arizona, Rubio in Florida. There's a few other races even this week across the country for House members. So I think it might wait a little while. But also, we've had how many different examples of this over the last few months? Yeah. And every time it seems to be a new low and nothing changes. I don't necessarily know that this is it either. I mean, this is a guy who's already confronted the Pope, who's raised doubts about the heroism of John McCain, who's done all sorts of things, and it hasn't caused people to break with him. If it somehow festers, if it suddenly appears in the polling that Trump has dropped significantly because he targeted a Gold Star family, then maybe you'll see Republican leaders and other members of the party try to break with him. But until that, I don't see why they would do it now if they haven't done it already. Speaking
of polling, then, I do want to ask you about parts of his new CBS News poll. Shows when it comes to the question of having the right temperament for office, we've really seen now Hillary Clinton separate from Donald Trump. 57% to 31% believe that the Democratic nominee is better suited for the office. This comes against the really latest of several attacks on Hillary Clinton, personal with regard to nicknames. Of course, Donald Trump calling her the devil. Is there anyone inside the Trump campaign that will be given pause by those numbers?
If there is, they're not necessarily going to be able to get to him. I think, while there are people in the campaign operation and certainly in the broader Republican National Committee apparatus that understand that these numbers are bad, it doesn't mean that Trump is seeing this and thinks that he should be doing anything differently. As far as he sees it, he's running neck and neck with her. He's beating her in some polling, either nationally or statewide, in key battleground states, and is beating her on questions of who's better fit to run the economy. Both of them are underwater on questions of trustworthiness. So to him, he's doing nothing wrong. And even if people are concerned about it, there's no reason to believe believe that that's going to get to him unless it starts to come from someone like his children. But witnessing Eric Trump this morning on CBS this morning, it's evident that the family itself still doesn't see what's happened in the last few days as a big problem, because Eric Trump was standing by his father and really taking things to a new level by outright lying about some of the things that his father has done or said.
Yeah, what did you make of that appearance specifically? I think to which you refer the idea that he said that his father has in fact apologized to the Khan family.
Which he has not,
Yeah.
and said that he was opposed to operations in Iraq and Libya, which isn't entirely true either. I think what it signals is that the party, or the family, has not yet absorbed what is going on, or at least doesn't feel the need to go out and publicly clarify or defend or apologize for what he has said. Remember, throughout this entire campaign, we know that ultimately it's his children who are his best advisors, or the ones that really can get to him and help him see things. This morning's appearance suggested to me that that hasn't happened yet, or at least that Eric Trump doesn't think that there's anything wrong with what's happened in the last few days.
Ed, while we have you here, and again, while we are waiting to hear from Donald Trump at a campaign rally event there in Ashburn, look into the bottom of your cup at the tea leaves. What do you expect Donald Trump to say, or perhaps not say, specifically with regard to the controversy regarding the Khan family today?
Well, we'll see. I mean, if I knew that, I'd be making a lot more money. But I think it's telling that he's in the Khan's home state. They live down in Charlottesville. This is happening in Ashburn, which is in Loudoun County, a critical swing county and a swing state. Rare for Trump to hold an event in Virginia, let alone at this hour of the day. So he may be trying to reset the news agenda, if you will, by speaking this early in the day. Normally he holds these things late at night. If he wants to get into it or signal some kind of remorse, what better place to do it than in their home state, and in a state with a sizable military population, active and retired, all across the state, whether it's down in Newport News or up in Northern Virginia near the Pentagon. This is a state that has a sizable military voting bloc, and for him to come there and either take them on again or to apologize could certainly sway decisions among voters in the Old Dominion.
Cannot imagine there will be a bigger if invoked today. Ed O'Keefe from the Washington Post. As always, Ed, we appreciate the time today.
Take care, Josh.